iPhone 15 Pro Max. Let's talk about it. So you might be wondering, why did I get another 15 Pro Max? Well, that's because the first one was faulty and I had to go grab another one and more in depth. When it comes to what's in the box, we only got a USB-C to USB-C cable, and that's it. This video is not an unboxing. Look, the phone might be faulty, but it's gorgeous. I cannot deny this is the best color that Apple has made. Anyways, let's talk about the build quality. As you know, this phone is made out of titanium, but only on the side. And the back is glass and the front is glass. So do not try to bend this phone. I don't care if you're hangry, I don't care if you got into a fight with your girlfriend, or if you watched the last season of Game of Thrones. Stop bending this phone. I mean, if this video gets 100,000 likes, I will bend it too. So sure, why not? Like the video and I will bend it. The reason that I need 100,000 likes is because I paid for this. So I need to get something back in order to break it. I don't make money off YouTube yet, so thank you. Make sure you subscribe. Anyways, so as I was saying, it's made out of glass and titanium, but you still can break it. Be really careful when you drop this phone and if you don't have a case on it. The reason that I say this is because what Apple has done, they have curved the edges of this phone so it feels really good in the hand, but because of those curves, it cracks way easier than the previous generations. So either have a case on it or have Apple Care on it. When it comes to the weight of the phone, because it's titanium, it's lighter than the previous generations of the Pro Max. But look, after a while, you still feel the weight of it. It's only the first impression, in my opinion, that you're like, ooh, this is light. And after that, you're like, oh, it's getting heavy. So if you want a good, comfortable and light phone, I would say either get the 15 Pro or the normal 15, depending on how you use the phone and the camera. So now let's talk about cameras. So when it comes to the camera, you got a 48 megapixel main camera and a 12 megapixel telephoto and ultra wide. The difference between this and a 14 Pro Max would be only in two things. The 48 megapixel main camera now shoots 24 megapixel by default, and also you get 2x extra zoom on the telephoto. Does it make a difference? I mean, I used it few times here and there, but it was nowhere close to a Galaxy S23 Ultra. I'm kind of disappointed, and I think it's my fault for reading the rumors that this was gonna have a periscope camera like the Samsung does. But yeah, when it comes to the telephoto, I'm not that impressed when it comes to videography side of it. But when it comes to photos, it kind of looks decent. Like, as you can see as these examples that I'm showing you on the screen, it's not bad. When it comes to the video side of it, so you still can record 4K cinematic videos and 4K 60 frames per second. And now because of the USB Type-C on this, you can do 4K ProRes log, which means you can easily get a Samsung SSD or any type of SSD and directly plug it into the iPhone and go to the camera and start recording ProRes log directly to the SSD, which is really great. No Android phone that I know of can do this. I'm pretty sure Samsung is already on it and S24 Ultra will have this. Oh yeah, I forgot, there's also the front-facing camera. It's literally the same as 14 Pro Max, so nothing has changed. One thing that I realized during my testing that has changed a lot is the Smart HDR5. This is the only thing that I can confirm that I could see the difference between a 14 Pro or a 14 Pro Max compared to the 15 series is that Apple controls the dynamic range way better on the 15 series compared to a 14 series. And I'm kinda proud of what they have done. It's not too much like the Galaxy is, and it's still on the Apple side, but sometimes it still gives it away that it's not perfect. Now, let's talk about the display on this. The display is a 6.7-inch AMOLED display made by Samsung. It gets up to 2000 nits of brightness, but I am not happy with what Apple did on this series, and I'll tell you why. The reason is because this is the same exact display as a 14 Pro Max. You might be saying, you expect every year Apple to do something. Hear me out. If Pixel Pro 8 can do 2,400 nits. Apple, the $3 trillion company, can do that too. So when in 3 months, Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra and the Pixel would have more brightness than the best Apple iPhone, of course I'm gonna be pissed as an Apple user because this phone costs more than $2,000 in Australia and I wanted to have the best display possible. Look, when it comes to watching content on it is amazing, but, you know how I picked the phone out of my fridge? Every time this phone heats up, the brightness drops like a 14 series did in my previous video. I haven't had this issue since the 13 series. My 13 Pro always would get hot and the brightness would drop, and it's happening on this. I don't know if it's the A17 Pro or if it's the titanium, but this is a hot mess. Talking about hot mess, A17 Pro. The thing that Apple promised for this phone to be the fastest console in your pocket. That was false advertising to the max. Let me tell you why. So when it comes to processing speeds, I did not see any difference while doing a video editing on CapCut or LumaFusion. It still was as slow as a 14 Pro Max, and when it came to gaming, it heat up and it got laggy. And I did a 3D Mark test compared to a Galaxy S23 Ultra, and oh my god, this is slow compared to a Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. I finally could say that name. That's the most difficult processor name to say. As you can see in this test that I'm showing you on the screen, iPhone is around 3 times slower when it comes to graphic power, and I am so shook. Apple usually doesn't throw out numbers out if they actually trust in their phones, but this year, something is not right. And what happened a few days ago, they released an iOS update to fix the heating up issues. And what they did is that they reduced the processing speed on this phone. Houston, we got a problem. This is giving Galaxy Note 7. So if you know, Galaxy Note 7 is the phone that was blowing up, and yeah, I don't like the fact that this heats up in my pocket every few seconds, and also it's already getting hot and I'm not doing anything. Imagine that. So yeah, when it comes to the processing, A16, it's still faster and more efficient in my opinion until Apple fixes this hot mess. You know what's the best part about this phone? The USB Type-C. It is actually so good. Like this transfer speeds, it's amazing. The number of times that I have shoot something from this and I have plugged in my SSD and just dropped everything to the SSD in a matter of seconds. Look, that actually is useful. And this thing. Let me explain why this is the most stupid thing that Apple has done. I would have actually liked it if it was actually customizable. So what do I mean by that? The reason that I don't like it is that it's because it's one action only. You cannot say 1 click, turn on the flashlight, 2 click, launch the camera. While the Bixby button on Samsung can simply do that. Look, I don't want to hate on Apple, but this is a stupid thing. I can guarantee you that iPhone 16 Pro Max is gonna have this feature that I'm gonna tell you, and it's gonna be exclusive to 16 because, I don't know, they couldn't do it on this for some reason. Have I used it? Yes. But also, did I wish that it could do more than one thing at a time? Of course, I would have loved it to be actually customizable. My thoughts on the action button, it's really stupid. It's not a pro feature. You could have done this with a triple tap or whatever on any iPhone. So, nah, it's not good. Now let's talk about the battery life on this. I personally haven't had a good experience with it, and I don't know if it's because of the heating up issues or it's because maybe my previous phone that I just returned was faulty. It's not as good as a 14 Pro Max and is not as good as 13 Pro Max. It's in between them, but yeah, it's not good and it heats up a lot. Talking about battery and charging speeds, Apple has limited the charging speed on this compared to a 14 Pro Max, which I'm like, why? You put the fastest USB speed on this, but you cannot give us a faster charging speed? Like, it caps out at 25 watt, while my 14 Pro Max could easily go up to 28 watt. This could have been a 35 or I don't know, a 45 watt speed. They're capping it, and I don't like that about it. So if I have to give an overall rating on this from 1 to 10, I will give a 7 out of 10. And I'll tell you why I have deducted 3 points. Reason number 1, the A17 claims are completely false, and it doesn't back up what Apple claims for this phone to be. The other thing that I'm disappointed with, action button. It's not useful. It would have been great if Apple allowed us to do customizable actions with clicking this button multiple times. And the last thing, I don't think Apple really put any thought into this phone. This is a 14 Pro Max with a new color and a new material. That's it. Who would I recommend this phone to? If you are on a 12 Pro Max or before, sure, it's a good upgrade, do it. But if you are on a 13 Pro Max, just wait until the 16 Pro Max or the 17, depending on what Apple does next year. Am I angry? Yes, because I waited another year for Apple to disappoint me with another phone. People in the comment section might say, you shouldn't be updating every year. Yeah, I don't want to update every year, but as someone that's been looking at the updates from, like, let's say 3 years ago till now, nothing is changing. Apple is in such a safe box. They're not getting out of that safe zone. They don't do anything revolutionary. Like, let's say what they did with iPhone 10. It was such a beautiful phone. They actually did something new. Look, I wasn't expecting this phone to have 100x zoom or 3000 nits brightness. I just wanted the slightest improvement, which they didn't. 15 Pro or 15 Pro Max is a pass for me. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you like and subscribe, and let me know in the comment section, will you be getting a 15 Pro or 15 Pro Max, and why are you getting it? I am actually really curious. I will be doing a review on the Pixel 8 Pro in the coming weeks, and I will be comparing it to this and the S23 Ultra. Until the next video, see you again. Don't forget, 100k likes and I will break this phone. These shots are stupid because I need to put the camera out now.